All right, let's get into it. Have you ever wondered what really separates the person who seems to win consistently at sports betting from the one who's always, just one play away? Well, today, we are going deep inside the mindset that divides the amateur from the professional.
On the surface, the difference might not seem like much, but honestly, it's night and day. On one side, you've got the Joe, the amateur, and their betting is all about emotion. They're betting on their favorite team, they're overreacting to last week's blowout game, and yeah, they're trying to win it all back with one desperate bet. But on the other side, that's the pro. For them, this is a business. It's about finding value, it's about managing money with serious discipline, and really understanding that this whole thing is a marathon, not a sprint.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The biggest difference isn't some magic crystal ball that predicts winners. No way. It's all about a strategic mindset. Like it says right here, it's not about who you're betting on, it's all about how you're betting. This quote from veteran bettor Marco D'Angelo just nails it perfectly. Joes bet teams, pros bet numbers. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. A Joe gets totally swept up in the story, right? Oh, this team's on fire. But a pro? They learn to ignore all that noise and focus on just one thing, the price. Is there value in the number the sportsbook is offering? That's the only question that matters.
Okay, so let's see what this actually looks like in practice. The Joe over on the left, he sees the Chiefs win big and immediately thinks, they're unbeatable, I'm putting my money on them. But the pro's thinking is so much more precise. They're not just betting on the Chiefs to win the game, they're betting on whether they can beat the point spread, that margin of victory set by the book. And that little half point you see there, going from -6.5 to -7, man, that changes everything. That can literally be the difference between a winning season and a losing one.
So this brings us right to our first big principle. You've got to bet the number, not the team. But look, finding a good number is only half the battle. It's totally useless if you don't have the discipline to manage your money. And that second part, bankroll management, that's where most amateurs completely fall apart.
These are basically the commandments of bankroll management for a pro. First, it's a marathon. The goal is long-term profit, not some get-rich-quick score this weekend. Second, and this is huge, you never, ever chase your losses. That double or nothing bet is a classic amateur move that will drain your account faster than anything. Pros actually do the opposite. When they're struggling, they often bet smaller. And maybe most important of all, your bankroll is sacred. It's money you can truly afford to lose. Not your rent money, not your bill money, and as one pro famously put it, not the money for diapers for the kid.
All right, let's move on to our second principle and see how this all starts to connect. So, once you're betting numbers and managing your money, the next level is learning how to spot these unique situations where the public's perception might be totally off, which creates value. This is what's known as finding the spot.
One of the absolute classic spots is something called the sandwich game. This is a perfect little trap. It's when a really good team is playing a much weaker opponent, but that easy game is sandwiched right between two huge, high-stakes matchups against other great teams. It's a setup for the stronger team to be unfocused, maybe looking ahead to that next big showdown.
Let's make this crystal clear with a real-world example. A few seasons back, the Indianapolis Colts found themselves in this exact scenario.
So check out the anatomy of this sandwich. Last week, the Colts had a massive, brutal game against Tampa Bay. Next week, they had another giant game on deck against the New England Patriots. But stuck right there in the middle was a game against the hapless Houston Texans, a team they'd already destroyed earlier that season. So what's the risk? The Colts come out totally flat, overlooking the Texans, just trying to get an easy win and move on to the real fight. And that is exactly where a pro finds the value. The public just sees an easy win for the Colts, but the pro sees the situation. As D'Angelo said, betting on the Texans was an ugly sandwich. You kind of have to hold your nose to do it, but the smart play was to bet against the favorite and take the points. Meaning, you're betting that the underdog Texans will either lose by less than the point spread, or hey, maybe even pull off a shocking win.
Okay, now for our third principle. And this is where we move from situational analysis to just cold, hard data. You see, pros don't just rely on their own opinions. They have a deep respect for the market itself. They follow the money and they trust data models way more than their own gut feelings. Just take a look at this number, 79%. I mean, what could possibly happen 79% of the time in the completely unpredictable world of sports?
Well, here it is. According to data analyst Ralph Michaels, there's a very specific situation that has this amazingly consistent outcome. When a winless team loses at home as a favorite, they then go on to cover the spread in their next road games 79% of the time. Just think about that for a second. It sounds absolutely insane to back a team that just can't win, right? But the data is undeniable. A pro trusts the model, not the story.
Another way pros follow the money is by spotting what's called a steam game. This is when you see a betting line move, and move fast. And that sudden dramatic shift isn't being caused by thousands of Joes. Nope, it's caused by a flood of money from sharp, respected, professional betting groups. And why? Because they've found a mistake, a flaw in the original number that the sportsbook put out.
So, for example, in a game between Denver and Kansas City, the public saw KC's insane offense, and they all bet the over, thinking it's going to be a shootout. But the pros, they disagreed. They saw the market was overvaluing KC's offense. So, huge waves of sharp money poured in on the under, betting on a lower-scoring game. This caused the total points line to steam down from 48. Following that steam meant you were betting right alongside the smartest money in the market.
All right, so we've covered the mindset, the money management, and the market intelligence. Let's wrap this all up into a final playbook that can help you start shifting your thinking from Joe to pro.
Here are the 4 biggest takeaways. Number 1, bet numbers, not teams. Always be hunting for that value. Number 2, manage your bankroll like it's a business. Remember, it's a marathon. Third, learn to find the spot. Look for those unique situations, like the sandwich game, where public perception creates a real opportunity. And finally, number 4, follow the money. Trust the data and respect what a steaming line is trying to tell you.
You see, the path from amateur to pro, it's really not about luck. It's about discipline, it's about strategy, and it's a completely different way of thinking. So the question I'll leave you with is this. Now that you've had a peek inside the mind of a pro, which Joe habit are you going to break first?